Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa natubu alayh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Min yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa min yudlil fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد, Barakallahu feekum. Welcome to S24, Baqa'at S24 Protection Academy. Barakallahu feekum. Short lecture. Today, Barakallahu feekum, I'm going to do a talk on the psychological effects on the onslaught of one being attacked, Barakallahu feekum. So it's really important that we understand what we're doing here. So we know first that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the ayah, He said, فَإِنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. So we understand the ayah, so know that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, from the partners now and the associates. And that we seek or we beg Allah ta'ala for forgiveness for the believing men and also for the believing women. Barakallahu feekum. So we know that this is from our aqidah and our minhaj. Yeah? So knowledge precedes speech and action. So we believe also that in self-defense, dealing with the fire in the nafsi, barakallahu feekum, that self-defense is 90% mental and 10% physical. Now, and we'll be getting to that at another time. So, barakallahu feekum, inshallah ta'ala, the topic of today is the psychological effect on the onslaught of being attacked. And what I mean by that, that we know that the psychological, anything that is psychological, dealing with psych, is dealing with the mind, barakallahu feekum. And we believe and know that the mind is the greatest weapon before the awesome, before you can punch, kick, defend yourself, whatever the case may be. That you must have what? Aql, that you must have intellect, that you must have a mind to be able to proceed in doing anything physical. The first thing we must have is what? The mental ability to be able to perform these obligations. Barakallahu feekum. And the same thing goes in with the mind dealing with self-defense. So we got to understand that there's a psychological effect on the onslaught, meaning that what is it that one person may do or a person may do if they're being attacked. You know, we're not talking about preset. We're talking about reality situations here. We're talking about someone, you're walking up the street and out of nowhere, someone, may Allah protect us from this, grab you from nowhere where you had no inclination, you had no information, no sight or anything, no view, no knowledge of it, and it just happened from nowhere. These things happen, we know first because of awareness, or one not being aware or not being alert and so forth like this here, or maybe just in denial. But in this case, we saying that this is the case. Person jump out, just grab you, or you're just standing there, they sucker punch you, or whatever the case may be. What is the first thing that goes through the victim's mind? Okay? We know what the attacker's mind is. We know what the predator mind is. We know what the criminal mind is that I'm going to do damage to this individual so that they can continue with their onslaught. Now, so the thing is that what goes through the person's mind that's being attacked, the victim. And this is what I mean by the psychological effect on the onslaught of being attacked. So it's really important that we understand this, because I come to find out through life, through other people's lives, so forth like this here, that they never really prepared themselves for this type of situation. You know, we have a lot of physical, charismatic things and, different types of functions that we use, dynamics, strikes, kicks, and so forth like this. But not really do the person very seldom use their mind or to understand what is the key point to one's survival, any type of attack or on the onslaught. And a lot of times what we kind of find out is that it's the psychological effect. What happens during that initial attack? What does or what goes through the mind of that victim? It's really important that we understand this, Barakallahu Fikum. So inshallah ta'ala, we're going to go into this, we'll try to get some clarity on this so that the people, the beginners, the intermediate, the advanced, the so-called masters, professionals, so-called professionals, all of, we all have titles, but the reality is, what is the reality situation? What happens? So it can only be described if a person did an interview with someone, asked like, what the first thing came to your mind when you was attacked? Victims, you ask. Victims, like, these are some of the things that is important. Or if you have been attacked yourself and you'll be able to explain on it, so forth like this here, or a person that was an attacker, and what was the response of the person that they attacked. So all these analogies and so forth like this here, it's real important that one must have that understanding, Barakallahu Fikum, because this is a reality situation. A lot of times you may not get the chance to do your self-defense moves or your tactics and so forth like this. It may be just how I'm going to survive this attack. How I'm going to survive this attack until I regroup. And this is real important because this is the reality. A lot of times that people don't understand that when you being attacked from nowhere, we have this thing called panic. And we all know what panic is. Now, Barakallahu Fikum. Panic is when it's a sudden uncontrollable fear. It's a sudden uncontrollable fear. Now, we know that from, real life situations. We could be places and something happens suddenly. I mean, just suddenly happen, gunshots, whatever. A lot of times people is not trained to just be hit the ground or run behind cover, because actually you're trying to identify the threat first. Now, trying to identify the threat where it's coming from, and a lot of times this is what causes people to get hurt, either in hand-to-hand combat or even just any type of situation, because they trying to identify, they don't know exactly what's going on. And a lot of times what happens on these sudden attacks, everything becomes uncontrollable. It becomes uncontrollable. I mean, you don't know which way to go. You don't know which way to run. You don't know nothing. Like, for instance, if you're walking up the street and the dog just ran out, and just start barking. And so a lot of times your neurology, your neurons and everything stiffen up. You're not able to get your mind together. Your body doing one thing, your mind trying to grasp the information. Your body's like paralyzed. These are the things what I mean by uncontrollable, that uncontrollable fear, that sudden uncontrollable fear. And this is a reality situation when we are being attacked by humans, when we're being attacked by assailant, when we're being attacked by an aggressor. We're trying to identify where it's coming from first. So here it is, you walking or whatever the case is, or you get into your car, you going to the masjid, or you coming home, you going to the supermarket, whatever the case is. And all of a sudden, because, the victor, the predator, they always wait. They always wait, and they got a plan. They planned it all out a lot of times before they attack. So here it is now, the initial attack happens. The onslaught happens. So now you're in the thick of, you're trying to figure out what happens. You're trying to figure out what happened, and you just can't grasp it because you have this panic going on, this fear, you get tunnel vision, and a lot of times you don't even get a chance to say help, because that ain't the first thing that's going to come to you, because the transformation of the neurologies, the neurons, is not going to be, you're not going to be able to speak right out. Everything will lock up on you. You're going to get tunnel vision until you, and I think it's like 0.15 seconds that it takes from the stimulus that goes to the response to the reactionary system for everything to run its course so it can hit the brain and onto the nerve neurology system that you may be able to respond. So it's a short period of time, but the thing is, through all of the thick and thin of trying to defend yourself, a lot of times you don't get that chance because you have been training or you have not been trained in the correct way. So the thing is, in order to be able to defend oneself from an attack, or while the attack already took place, the attack already took place, and now you're in the thick of it. In order for you to survive the attack, that you have to first have control. You must have control. Okay, that's like you're in a knife fight and you get cut. You know you cut. Like, you don't panic. You don't panic, but you know you cut. But the thing is, you're trying to survive the assault. So this is basically what it is. The survival strategy. So, but a lot of people don't survive the initial attack is because they panic and they have uncontrollable fear or anxiety. Increasing heart rate. This is normal though. And they don't breathe when they being attacked or, whatever the case may be. They don't know how to breathe correctly. They don't know how to calm down so they can refocus, So this is a lot of times how when a person grabs a person or they sneak up on them and they attack them, a lot of times they panic. They don't know which way to go. They're not in a full thinking capacity. So the predator becomes controlling from that point. Start controlling from that point. So it's very important that you understand that you must first have knowledge of how to handle anxiety. All this is part of self-defense. How to handle anxiety, because if you've been attacked, you got to be able to handle this. Under fire, under attack, whatever it is, okay? You got to be able to handle that sudden, uncontrollable fear. You got to get under control, or anxiety. And often causing wily and unthinkable behavior. Unthinkable behavior. You start doing stuff that you never even imagined. Like, you don't understand, like, what's going on. You're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, okay? And we have seen it. Some of us have done it, So it's important that we understand that this part of this seminar is real important, inshallah, that you benefit from it, because a lot of times, a lot of places, schools don't put this in their curriculum. All right, so it's really important that the mind is the greatest weapon. Nah? That's why we say 90%. 90% mental and 10% physical, coming down so many levels. But this understanding right here is really important, the psychological effect. A lot of people die just because they couldn't respond correctly, or they didn't know what to do. They wound up running into the gunfire. They wound up running into the person that's, or other people that may be on the attack. It may be more than one person. You're not focused. You can't focus straight. You tunnel vision. The only thing you know is, trying to get out of it, but you're not really focused. Take this for instance, a bear. You're going hunting. A bear come up. They tell you not to run. So they give you the knowledge. Do not run. Stand still. And if you got a car, beat your horn real loud or whatever, but never run. Okay? So, but now what happens if you're going hunting or whatever the case is, and a bear do come out, right? A lot of times we're going to run. We're going to run, and the bear's going to chase us, because now they got a prey to chase, right? Got the game going on, and a lot of times we cannot outrun no bear, especially in their homeland. Okay, they know that forest, they know the woods better than us, so a lot of times you'll run right into a trap. Barakallahu fikum, may Allah help us and protect us from too late. Now, so it's really important, inshallah, that we understand this. Right? So you got to understand about this psychological effect. It's real important that you understand this, inshallah. So, I don't know how many of y'all ever really been in a real life situation where is that, you was attacked, or, vice versa. You had to attack someone, because we all know that self-defense have many levels. You can do preemptive self-defense, where you attack someone first because you really truly believe that this person was coming to hurt me, or this person was approaching me to hurt me, whatever the case is. So you use a preemptive attack. This is permissible, but you would have to prove that in court why you did that, or whatever the case may be. So it's really important, Shout the idea that we understand. So I don't know if any of you ever been in a situation like this before, where it's that, someone attacked you or just jumped on you from nowhere, and you was trying to get yourself together through the initial attack or the onslaught, and you was unsuccessful. Some of us be successful, some be unsuccessful. It all depends on, first, the color of Allah, Mashafa'ala, and second, it all depends on what you know, your skills, or the skill of the attacker. Now, he might be a professional attacker. He may be someone been doing this a long time, and he already know how you're going to react. Or you may get a guy or a person that don't know. He's just an amateur. Alhamdulillah, barakallahu fikum. He's an amateur. You survive that. He's not good on his hunt game. He's not good at that. He's just trying things out. And a lot of people may survive. Alhamdulillah, barakallahu fikum. So the thing is that you just want to make sure that you don't put yourself in this position. So the information that I'm basically giving you right now is that you must start exercising this in your everyday life, because, when attacks do happen, a lot of times people freeze up. And when they freeze up, they cause themselves to be hurt very badly. So the thing is, I'm going to give you another situation where is that you ever be walking across the street, and out of nowhere, and a car come, but you never seen the car coming, and the car go or whatever, and you freeze right there. You never really think about getting out the way. You just stop, and everything locks up. You go tunnel vision. Your heart start palpitating. And that's because this is basically what I'm saying. These are real life situations that every day that we go through. Now the thing is, how do one come out of such situation? Do a person just react and just run across the street? Yes. A person can just get scared and jump and run across the street, and then run right into a truck or run right into a pole or run into something else, because you're not focused at that particular time. So what I'm trying to say is that, to get into the thick of the things, when we instruct in self-defense and we teaching people that we can do all these techniques and so forth like this here, and they look pretty, but the reality is that first we got to get past the mental understanding of a real attack. We're not talking about some preset stuff where it's that, okay, throw the roundhouse punch, okay, throw the jab. Okay, this is training. This is good for us. There's nothing wrong with that. But the main thing I'm trying to get you right is psychologically is that, what is that mindset? We got to get that mindset together. This is the most important thing to your skills. This is the most important thing to your tactics. You got to be a strategist. You got to be able to, in some cases, you got to know that this stuff is going to happen. You got to believe. You can't be in denial and say, hey, well, I'm never going to be attacked. So the thing is, you got to accept the fact that I live in a violent society. I live in a violent world, and anything can happen at any given time. And you got to really, really believe this without any doubt, because if you got doubt, then you're denial. And if you live in a real world, you know that if you look around, you see all the chaos and all the craziness going on in our communities and in the world, that it can happen anywhere at any time. Okay? Now, the bottom line is, are you ready to defend yourself if need to be? The thing people say, yeah, I'm ready. Okay? But mentally, they're not ready. So physically, they're not going to be ready. Okay? Physically, they're not going to be ready, because if you get someone that is a professional, someone who knows exactly what they're doing, and they attack you, okay? They attack you from nowhere. You can take yourself through the own training. Just have someone jump out on you from nowhere. You can play the game, and you'll come to find, you'll realize that you're not really ready. You're not really ready. So the mind thing is that you got to be ready. Like in the military and places like this here, when they train, they go through their basic training. That's what that's about. That's more of a mental training. Because see, when you're under fire, you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to, it's no panicking. You start to run all around, people shooting, they bombs dropping. You got to be ready. You got to be able to hit that ground, and look where that fire is coming from, and don't panic. Take deep breaths until you really can find out what's going on. And this is the reality. The same thing you out in the street. Somebody jump on you, from nowhere, start firing on you, or somebody jump on you out here, they start stabbing you from nowhere. A lot of times, you're not going to survive that. The only way you're going to survive a lot of these things is through your training or your reality experience. And the Lord knows best. So the only thing we're trying to give you today, what I'm trying to give you today is that some reality-based training dealing with the mental understanding of the psychological effect on the onslaught of being attacked. So it's real important that you understand this. That self-defense is not something that's in your hands. It is something that is between your ears, meaning your brain. If you cannot detect or if you cannot respond correctly, then you are not doing the correct self-defense training on protecting oneself. The mind is the greatest weapon. Always remember this. These will not move if the mind does not give it the permissibility to move. Meaning a person in a coma, they are brain dead. They cannot move their body or their arms. They cannot move nothing in their body. It is completely gone. It's non-existent. Do you understand? So we got to make sure that our minds are correct. Our minds are intact. That we understand this. This point right here, the psychological effect on being attacked. What happens? How would I respond? How would I respond if somebody just jumped on me? If you're not going through this training like this here, I guarantee you, almost guarantee you, that if you were attacked, you would not respond back with aggression. You would not respond back with aggression. And you have to respond back with aggression. It's called violence versus violence. If a person jump on you, you cannot be mediocre on your return assault. You have to go for the knockout. You have to go for the stoppage. You have to go for the discontinuation of his attack. You got to stop them in their tracks. So if you're not mentally prepared, a lot of times that this is always going to happen. You're always going to find yourself becoming the victim. So you got to be able to understand that it's violence versus violence. You jump on me, I'm jumping on you back. That's just the bottom line. Okay? But if your mind, your psychological behavior is not correct, then guess what? You're not going to respond correctly. Okay? You're not going to be able to respond correctly, Barakallahu Fikum. So that's basically what I wanted to give you all the information, alhamdulillah, that, this is some of the training, this is the training that we do. We believe that the mind is the greatest weapon, and we believe that if you do not use it, you will lose it. And the physical aspect of training is just my arsenal. My center home, my campsite is here. This is where everything's coming from. My deployment is here. This is where I deploy from, right? And everything else, my arsenals, whatever I use, my hands, my feet, my head, whatever it is, my elbows, whatever it is, comes from here first. And if I don't train this to be able to adapt or be able to perform correctly, then these are not going to work for me at all. It's real important that we understand that. Barakallahu Fikum. So, inshallah ta'ala, that's what I wanted to give you today. Alhamdulillah, I hope you, Barakallahu Fikum, enjoy the seminar, because the small lecture, because it's very important, Barakallahu Fikum. And may Allah Ta'ala protect y'all and give y'all fados, Barakallahu Fikum. So, what I want to do, alhamdulillah, I want to demonstrate something for you, okay? And then it's going to just be a simple demonstration on being able to, how things go when one is being attacked. Okay, so we take this for beginners, for starters. Then my wife come up. They said we still on lockdown, so it's kind of hard for us to be able to do a lot of things with other people. So, alhamdulillah. So we're going to talk about the reactionary time, or the stimulus, or going through this type of physiology understanding of self-defense. Why? Because we know that she sees me. Okay, even when one sees you, if you was to grab them around their throat from nowhere, I mean, yeah, we are sitting there, a person talking to you, and they just grab you around your throat. See, she has chinched up, shoulders chinched up. Why? Because that's the stimulus, people. That is the stimulus what I'm basically getting to, right? So the thing is that no matter who you are, a lot of times, if you do not know where the attack is coming from, okay, you're not going to respond right, okay? You're just not going to respond right, and that's the bottom line. You see what happens? You see what happens? Barakallahu fikum, barakallahu fiki. Okay, I'm her husband, and I'm talking, and the sneak attack came. This is the reality, okay? She knows why we up here, but it's going to happen. Now, if she trained all the time, repetitively, now, like I said, 0.15 before that goes from the stimulus on the first touch of stimulus, traveling through the neurons to the response, right? The effect and the end of that, okay? So it's really important that we understand that, because she's not going to be able to respond back to me physically or using whatever strike or whatever she got to do or escape unless she first controls this. It's real important. And it's always going to happen. Like, no matter how many times we'll go through the same training, it's going to happen. See? This is my wife. She knows I'm not going to hurt her. Barakallahu fikum. Okay? So it's real important, inshallah ta'ala, that we understand that. Okay? So now, say you turn around this way. It's the same way. Now, she knows I'm here. Okay? She knows I'm here. Barakallahu fikum. Okay? But I'm just giving you an understanding. Okay? About stimulus. Okay? It's about stimulus. Grabbing hair. Automatic freeze. Okay? It's an automatic freeze. Barakallahu fikum. Okay? You can turn around. Alright, okay? Alright, so how do you go up to the shit right? Alright, so my training can get little serious sometimes. So I just had to give my wife a hug, barakallahu fikum. So I don't know if that was appropriate, but on camera, but that's where my heart went at that particular time. So we're not the type of people be hugging in public and so forth like this. I just want y'all to know that I was just trying to console my wife a little bit, barakallahu fikum. All right, so inshallah ta'ala, you got to remember that part of the training. So I want you to train like that because it's important. So inshallah ta'ala, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And you can go on our website on S24 Protection Academy, okay? Under Mujahid Ford, barakallahu fikum, inshallah ta'ala, okay? So inshallah ta'ala, you can go on the S24 Protection Academy. It's our website. If you want to do some classes, you want to do some workshops, we're going to have some online classes going on, workshops, seminars, inshallah ta'ala. So you might receive an email from me, or you might receive a message that you've been invited to something like that. So you will need certain programs to be able to become part of that training session or learning sessions, whatever it be. So inshallah ta'ala, may y'all be safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.